This is the Food and Beverage Tax Advisory Commission meeting for Monday, November 4th. I'd just like everyone to go around the room and introduce themselves, and I'll start with you.
Deputy Mayor.
Galen Cassidy, Uptown Deputy.
Lenny Bush, One World Enterprises.
And Mark Bell, the Trailhead Enterprises and Scenic View.
Courtney Moser, Assistant Council Administrator.
Aubrey DeLauder Myers as an Assistant Administrator for the County Council.
Jeff Underwood, Controller, Assistant Treasurer for CIB.
Ashley Thomas, Internal Auditor for the county.
Jessica McClellan, City of Bloomington Controller.
Right. Thank you all so much. I'm Julie Thomas, County Commissioner. And I would like to move to amend our agenda to address an item relating to an internal audit that Ms. Thomas will be presenting. All in favor of adding this item to our agenda? Aye. 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 Excellent. And otherwise, the agenda works for everyone?
I'd ask a question if it included the issue having to do with the county distribution of funds, and I was assured that it was inclusive in the recommendation.
Yeah.
Of the agenda.
Yes. Yep.
Where on the agenda would you like to add Ms. Thomas?
We're just going to add her right after this. We're going to make her next.
Okay, great.
I already did the roll call. All right. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 5-0. And we will go ahead and begin with Ms. Thomas. And there's a letter here or memo here that we're going to be talking about.
So my initial start with this was not due to any improper items. We just had a personnel change downstairs. The individual that was over the food and beverage tax coming in was no longer with us. So we just did a routine audit to ensure that everything was accurate. In doing so, we did find that there really is no way to 100% guarantee that we are dividing taxes appropriately. A lot of the licensures are providing an address to us, and it's not based off of the location of the actual business being operated. So we cannot determine 100% of the time where that food and beverage tax is coming from. So it's the auditor's recommendation that we switch back to a 90-10 split instead of, which has been mostly, which is what the second page being provided to you, has been roughly close to the 90-10 split that's happened. But there's no way for us, or for myself, to go through and just always know that we're at that appropriate level. The best example to provide is there's a business that has 4 locations. Initially, we were doing a 50-50 split for those locations because we didn't know where they were at, but upon looking further in, 3 of those locations were in the city, 1's in the county. So that means that we're not able to locate those and know them unless you go super deep dive, find out if they've sold, if they've traded, if they've done all these things based off of what the state of Indiana is providing us. And so that's basically what my findings were. It's not any mismanagement. There's no negative, no individual is doing anything incorrect. It's just that the process we have in place, there's no accuracy that we can guarantee 100% all the time.
I'm frustrated with that.
Questions?
I feel like this boggles the mind that with our digital age, that we can't guarantee, and if it's not guaranteed just 100%, is it like 99.9, or what? Why do we have to change it to something generic that's completely arbitrary? Not completely arbitrary, but I mean it is arbitrary to a certain extent. So I think that this locating, you have to have your location to get your permits. I was saying it seems to me like it's easy to break it down.
Well, the hard part about this is that they're basing it off of the tax that's paid to the state, and like I don't pay per location. The Ellettsville store doesn't pay differently from the stores in Bloomington. So
you pay by the corporation, not by your location.
Right. It's paid. Each Pizza Express pays and Lenny's pays and Hive pays, but there's no breakdown of whether that's in the county and the city. And we are the only county that has a food and beverage tax that
That's
splits it.
yes.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you'd have to change the whole state.
Well, and I can imagine that even if you can split it percentage-wise by location, those different locations probably have different revenues, so it might not
Absolutely.
actually be an accurate reflection of their
Mhm.
revenue if you
Yeah,
split
the
it by
number of
location.
locations. That's
Right, you couldn't just do as in this example on here, 25, 75, because that may not be correct.
That would be our best guess would do that 25, 75, but it's still not.
It's still not accurate.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So, and I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember how we came up with that split way back in
It's-
whenever. But that seemed to be the closest we could get, in county and city agreed that seemed like a fair split. And unless everything changes dramatically, I think it's the best we can do. Although we do have to kind of keep looking at Ellettsville that's growing
Mhm.
and somehow figure out if, it's still going to be, maybe 5 years down the road, we figure out a way to relook at this. But, for right now, it seems fair until they start adding a lot of restaurants, which is probably going to happen.
Well, or you just do an annual review. You just come with us as each year throughout this time. At the end of the year, you just give us announcements like you've done here. And you could say 10.5 and whatever, or just do it like you've done here. There's your average.
So just to be sure I understand the history here, it says adhering to the previously outlined percentages. Do you mean previously outlined in legislation or just the averages that you're showing us here? What does that refer to?
I believe previously there was a contractual agreement.
I don't think it was contractual, but I think there was a verbal agreement between the city and the county that this 90-10 split seemed equitable and right.
And then did we switch to some other system?
When the new person came in,
They did it based off of, for instance, if you were a business owner and you paid your taxes, it came in and the state provided your business name, your business address.
I see.
And then we would take that business address, plug it into the GIS system and see where that's located. And based off of that address, if it was located in the county, then your taxes were applied to the county's portion. If it was located in the city, then it was applied to the city's portion. But there was no way of knowing how many businesses you own, where are they located, that kind of item.
And so for the benefit of public record, when did that change occur? Just so that somebody will ask this at some point, I'm sure.
Last August? I'm not 100% sure, but I will find out and I can definitely provide that information. I'm not sure when it
Get some background, because I think I'm the one person that's consistent between all of us. So, this issue is not a new issue. This issue came up initially when the food and beverage collection started coming in. Based on the addresses, it was we looked at it with the city and the county looked at it, and it was kind of a 90-10 split based on locations. And the issue was multiple locations is that does not get reported. So if I have a business and I have 5 different locations, I get a number for that, but the state does not keep that information. It gets reported as one collection. So it was almost impossible to split it out into that. But what we did agree to was they would continue to look at that as the collections came in and adjust that percentage based on actual collections, so that if for some reason extra money got collected in the county, it could be identified that way, the monies would go to the county and vice versa. So it's always been based on the actual collections and based on the location. So you'll see the percentages have been different each year, but it's usually been around that 90-10, 88-12%, somewhere in that range is typically what it is. But this has always been a problem, being able to specifically down to the detail level,
Right.
because the state doesn't report it because they don't get it.
So how did we get these numbers then? Are the 89.33?
These are using our current system with their best.
Okay, so if One World was in the county, then they were your headquarters, then all that's being reported under this 10.67. If it was,
Yeah.
That seems appropriate.
So-
See that's.
We don't really know if if it's accurate.
So now.
It's as accurate as you can possibly get it.
Yeah.
But there's no, what I'm saying is there's no 100%. Like, there's no way to get it.
I was looking for 100%. My thought is, just take what you've got here and just say, this is a report. It's obviously shows evidence of being the prices you can make it. There's all I could ask for and say it rather than just saying a generic 10 or 90, just say it's 10.67, 89. I mean, your computer could do it either way. But this is something that validates. I prefer to have something that validates
I
something
mean,
specific.
that's why when I was the city,
Yeah.
we agreed that that was, you know, the county gets the information, it's proprietary, the state, you have to have a non-disclosure. But we looked at it, I came over several months and we looked at the data. It looked like the county, with what they had, was making the appropriate allocation. So while I was at the city, administration, we were fine with the allocations of how it got split based on the information they got from the state. And it would vary, like I say, but not much.
Other questions?
I think one other question that I'm trying to channel our favorite reporter who will no doubt follow these questions anyway, so let's ask them now so we have the answers. If we were to change it to 90-10, not arguing for that one way or the other, but if we were to change it back to the old way of 90-10, I'm assuming there would be no, back reallocation or correction for the past, since this is really about making a decision that would be actionable and trackable.
Correct.
Ms. Turner King, is there any action for us to take today?
Oh, well, I am not 100% sure on that because I haven't, usually Mr. Hockwell handles food and beverage
I
tonight, so
know.
I haven't looked at
He's
the
out today.
statutes. He's
Okay.
out today. I'm happy to look at it, but I don't know that I can advise right now.
I don't think there's anything for this group to do at this moment. Honestly, just getting the information and knowing what's out there and understanding that it's never going to be perfect and we're still at close to 90-10 and that's how it's flowing. So any other thoughts or comments? Yeah, there wouldn't be any retroactive changes. No, absolutely. Yeah. All right. And I will say that I've been through this from the beginning. Yes, I was gonna say. We've been here all along, so it's been pretty cool. I do have a question, since this food and beverage tax distribution for 2024 is here on the table. What is the current balance of the food and beverage county portion, city portion?
It's very tiny. It is 2,963,534.62.
Whose is that?
Oh, that's the total. Okay, so city
Right,
is 2,637,357.40.
okay,
And county is 326,177.23.
great. Thank you so much. It's good to have that just on the record, just so we know what's up. Okay.
Is that the?
That's just year to date.
Yeah, that's
not
year to date.
Yeah,
That can't be.
what is the total in the fund?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
There's definitely over $1 billion in the county.
So that's for 20.
There's 4 million.
yeah, I need the
Gotcha,
total,
gotcha.
Yep.
the total fund balance for the county.
Let me work on getting that to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right, so our next item is our FabTech recommendations report. We have a copy of the Monroe County plan in front of us. I will note that during this year, we did allocate some funds from food and beverage to the Harrodsburg Festival for fireworks. Otherwise, we have not expended money out of the county's portion of food and beverage. Just like to see if anyone has any thoughts or comments. Obviously, the city is going to be talking about the convention center and their portion. So I just wanted to see if anyone had any suggestions or recommendations for the county portion. The quarry project, I think, is still viable, very viable, and a really huge tourist draw, and really important for our community itself, not just for bringing in tourists, but I want to see if anyone had any other thoughts.
I was curious on this because I know it's been brought up before and I know there was discussion and all that. It just how far along is the county on this? I mean, is this,
Okay.
is this a commitment? Is this a thought? Is this
Okay,
a
so we own the property, so that's a commitment.
commitment?
We are, I have not gotten the initial group together yet because we've been looking at property, right next to it as the site for the future jail location. And because of that,
This
it
is-
connects, right? It's right. So, is it parking? Is it, we need to hash a few more things out. And then, my hope is I have a group of folks who are interested in launching and getting things moving. We think it would cost about, we think it would cost at least 250,000, probably closer to 300,000, based on an initial estimate that we received to get a first development plan done. And that would be very basic. And then bringing it to the community will cost additional dollars, but to bring it to the community, say, what do you want in this park? And so between those two things, then we are talking about building trails, parking, amenities, and adding those in, and that takes the rest of the money, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is the location?
So it is, if you can picture I-69, where it crosses 4546, the northwest corner, which is North Park. And between North Park and 69, there are a number of quarries that have been abandoned. We're talking about doing an outdoor museum and potentially arts, limestone carving. So economic development, tourism, walkways, trails. But we're hoping to do something with the quarries, and it's going to be difficult to do because we can't touch the water level in the quarries. So, so there's, and it's right next to, so between those two properties is the CBS site, which was the Superfund site, no longer a Superfund site. So we're going to do some educational work on PCBs for folks who go to the park as well.
Not to interrupt, but I was able to find that amount as well.
The county's total.
The county's total for food and beverage tax, the current cash balance is $2,031,533.47.
So the hope is to get that first initial step done next year. Thank you for that. And begin moving forward with the development planning, at least the first step of it. So the idea is to open the park up gradually in sections as we're able to fund its expansion and growth, not just opening up the park, seeing what happens.
Have y'all thought about like who's gonna develop the park or?
Right. So we're talking about doing potentially, we could do a capital improvement board. We could have a board of residents who are doing the project. It could go a number of ways. Planning has been involved. We went to Regional Opportunities Initiative and were awarded a grant, but we lost the grant because we didn't buy the other property in time. So that was $250,000 we lost. And then the North Park jail site potential came up, and we want to see where things fall because there's a potential for parking access to the park if we do things right. So,
Okay.
that meeting should take place early in, 2025.
Everybody's dinging all the
Yeah.
time.
So was the idea of this park before the jail was planned to be there?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So has there been some reconsideration of this idea? Because-
Absolutely not. Here's why.
Yeah.
We have a jail right now that's 2 blocks away from an elementary school and, across the street from where people live in apartments. And this is, a jail is not a prison, a jail is a jail. And so we, would want to encourage people to utilize the park. It's going to be, it's a dark, believe it or not, even being that close to I-69, there's a dark sky initiative location in that park. But there's also a lot of opportunity for limestone history.
Yeah.
And we'd like to do, actually, the big dream is to put in an indoor archive and museum space for kids
That's
and
true.
adults to come in and, see photographs and learn about the
That's
we don't have any kind of historical museum for limestone in Monroe County, and that's a shame.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you developed most of it in Washington DC with our
Right.
limestone. and Nobody knows that it came from downtown Lulitic.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, yeah, so that's the idea, is to really, celebrate and embrace that, but also add in the arts, add in the carving, add in so many other features, and then making it also a place where people will want to walk trails. It's a gorgeous place. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. It's a stunning piece of property.
The only parts is that, the parts can be a black hole that can absorb all of the
Sure.
money. That's
Sure.
the thing is that
Sure.
how they funding this thing's gonna be one of your major issues.
Right.
So how much of the county part of the $2 million, is, because once you're halfway in, it can't be half pregnant. You got.
Yeah, you're in. Yeah, no, it's going to be really good. That's why the talk of a capital improvement board has arisen, because there are things that can be done on the property, like weddings or performances and things like that, that can bring in money to help maintain the other portions of the park.
Exactly.
So, and we're looking at getting a restaurant in location and, to cater and to, so there are actually 2 entrances to the park. One is off Arlington, the other is off of 45, 46.
How big's the property?
68? I think, gosh, I haven't seen that number in a while. I wasn't.
Well,
So it's a guess. It's large.
Okay.
Can I ask some technical questions? So is the total request $700,000? You got estimated cost 40,000, estimated cost 300,000. You mentioned you thought it would be 250 to 300K to get a basic plan, and I see you have some other
Right.
funding sources here that could be part of the.
Right.
Like,
This
what is the
is
actual
this is
request?
from last year.
There
Okay.
isn't a request.
There is
So
a
there's no
request.
request.
So,
What are we
what
approving?
actually there is a request, and that would be to go ahead and duplicate this and to move forward with this. I would say that first number should be 500,000 with inflation. And then the other number, I think, is fine at 300,000, because we may be able to piggyback off development at the jail site, the Justice Complex site. So it would be 800,000, but that's just for 2025.
But right now, we're just looking at this as the report that you want to submit to.
The commissioners have to approve the report before December 1st by the state. And we do have to spend monies by July of 2025.
Mhm.
Some money, not all of it.
But we don't have any other ideas. This is the only one.
yeah, because here's where my concern is that what you're really doing is saying is you're going to dedicate the $2 million to this program. Because once you get into this program, you're going to absorb all the money we're going to generate, which raises a concern I have is like
Okay.
anything else on the horizon. you're already locked in a program like the convention center, there's
Right.
anything you're doing, if you're raising for the city, it's gonna go to the convention center. And it looks like where we're going is any money that's going to the county is gonna go to the Quarry Park. So I mean, it's a major policy decision. I'm not saying against it, but that's where we're going. We ought to say, hey, that's where, because that means all my county restaurants are saying, yeah, you're gonna raise a park on the north side. And that's not necessarily where everybody in the county would want to go.
So that's also my concern, but related to that, we do have folks who are on our city council who are not fans of the convention center. So I'm concerned that if they see the county is spending all of their fat tax money on trails, that they will then say, well, we now want to spend all of our money on trails. And I know that
This isn't a trail project.
Yeah.
This is much more than a trail project.
I understand,
Okay,
but that is
okay.
how those folks would frame that, I think. And they would see this as.
Okay,
The park.
so that would be, so what? I'm sorry.
So it just makes me a little nervous that this will create leverage to draw money away from the city's funds for the convention center.
But but our money, meaning county money, the county funds are not supposed to go to the convention center, although we did
No,
put,
that's right.
we did put 1.7 million in ARPA money into the convention center, the current center, to upgrade it.
Sorry, apologies because I'm new to this, but can you remind me then? So the county's monies are not intended for the convention center?
Right, correct. They're intended for economic development, tourism in the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yep. But you raise a good point, so I'm making notes. Thank you. All right,
Is it primarily, is the focus on tourism? Is that the?
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
economic development and tourism. And we just, I would say that I wouldn't assume that all of the money now and in the future will go to this park. I think it will become, once the initial capital is expended, I think it will become a self-sufficient property, which is why we're looking at the idea as an option.
That's right.
Yeah,
So we really need is a seed money to kind of get us started.
right.
That's right.
And county's already invested in the property. So
And so, yeah, sorry,
that's all right.
I'm going back there. So this was approved last year,
Yes,
but didn't have things, you ran out of time before anything could be acted on because you hadn't owned the property yet. So now we're being asked to reapprove essentially what was already approved last year.
right. And I added 100,000 to the 0.1, just to bring it into current costs. And so, yes, so what happened was last year, this current year, I should say, is that with the jail site focus that we've had, because we've had to go through a lot of property and investigate and do the engineering studies and geotechnical studies and watershed studies and everything under the sun, we knew that this property was one of the options. And so I didn't want to waste people's time on that until we knew what was going on.
Isn't there like 400 acres that the county also bought on 446? Is that
That's
right?
southeast or, yeah, southeast side. Huntington Farm.
Oh, Huntington Farm, yeah. So Huntington Farm was a bequest to the County Parks and Recreation Department.
Bequest.
And it's still in the courts. It hasn't, we don't officially own it yet. So that's gonna probably be another 6 months plus before we actually even own it. But that's gonna be an incredible park.
Tell us a little bit about that. You maybe know something about it. I just heard something like 400 acres, which is huge.
Yeah, so it's if you're on Worst Pike and Smith,
West Park and Smith. Okay.
that big, huge field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any initial ideas? I know it's not even through the courts yet, but
Yeah, no, so that's the Parks Department will be coming up with ideas, and developing a plan. They do get a little bit of money, annual money to maintain the land as part of this bequest, which is nice. It's gonna be amazing, but I don't know what they're going to decide, and we're just still excited about just getting the property and haven't really gone past that yet. probably thrown a lot of ideas at Kelly, but
So I could see that could potentially 2 years from now be competing with the quarry for funds, but really what you're saying wouldn't necessarily come from us. And we wouldn't
No.
be involved with that.
yeah, that's really a parks function. I would say if they're going to need capital for something and they decided to come to food and beverage for that money, we would hear about it this time of year.
Yeah.
It won't be before that.
So if we approve this, do we need to have amendments on the record about changing the dates and the dollar?
Yeah. Yep. The fund balance is wrong, so I would just say I would make a motion to approve the plan as listed from 2023, November 2023, approved in November 2023 to be approved, at this meeting with the, amendment to item 1, which is increasing the estimated cost to $500,000.
So just let me,
So I need a second before we discuss.
but let me just, so what we're saying here is not only just the plan that we need to report to the state and
The state,
everybody else. We are going to actually be approving the funds for this. Is that correct or not?
No, not the
No,
funds,
we're
just the
not
plan.
approving funds.
Just the
We're
plan.
approving the plan.
The plan. Yep.
So first we also need to. so
Yeah, this
second-
is all, I would take out this is just the plan that we're talking about, which begins here.
Okay. So at this point, so we'll have another opportunity to.
Yes. Mhm. And
Yeah,
I'm
that will
assuming
be-
more of an in-depth.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
what we're
this is just a
doing.
plan to go to the state because the
make
state
them-
requires it.
The state required it so that they don't.
Yeah.
Pull the plug on the whole.
Right.
Food and beverage tax.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I
And
personally would like to hear more about the jail. I know we have a jail next to a school right now, but I mean, I've heard of talks about different kinds of facilities being located next to that jail
Okay,
too, so
okay. We're looking at a courts building, so courts, prosecutor, public defender.
okay, no mental health
No,
facilities.
no, there's no space. No, no.
Okay.
Well, you use this land, if there is.
Yeah. Can't use this land for building anything. It's really not buildable land. It's a parkland. This North Parkland is, yeah, Victoria in the uplands. Yeah, it's really not. It's going to be tough to find a place to put a building, but it'll be closer to the Arlington side. Where there's more flat land. When you come in off of the 45, 46, the 46 side of it, it's rough terrain, quarry. So, it's.
You know, we have a quarry back behind.
There you go. There you go. So could I get a second on this? And,
Second.
okay, thank you.
And Commissioner Thomas, if I
Sure.
may, just for clarification, I know we keep saying approving the plan. The FabTech is recommending
Recommending.
the plan to the commissioners who then.
And the
approve.
recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a recommendation and then the commissioners approve the plan and then it's filed with the state.
Okay. So,
We approve your recommendation.
not a word.
How can we say, we strongly approve?
Any other questions or comments? No. No, okay. All those in favor of approving the recommendation for the plan to go to the Board of Commissioners signify by saying aye. Aye. Yeah, 5-0. All right.
Yeah, and just let me ask a question. So then we will be getting something also from the city, which I'm figuring will probably be from the CIB on the plan for the spending of the city's portion.
I don't know about that.
The city's plan has not gone to the FABTAC before. And it is the controller and the administration writes
Yeah.
and submits it to the mayor and the mayor approves it. Just because we have a slightly different structure than the county, we don't have a board of commissioners.
Yeah.
We do have our plan ready. I have it up in front of me right now. It's the same format. It's required by the same IC code and we upload it to the same place. And it follows kind of the same format where it has a history of spending and the next year we will spend on we will issue bonds for a convention center managed by the CIB, and that the CIB has a budget, and it says what that budget is in there and what kind of a general summary of what those expenses are.
Okay.
That's for you. Because we need it written up. Or do I need to give it up to Jeff?
I can take care.
Okay.
I will say that the ordinance amending the food and beverage tax advisory committee that the county passed back in, let's say March last year, does say that the advisory commission, which is this body, shall make an annual recommendation report outlining the commission's recommendations to both the city and the county. So if the advisory committee has suggestions or recommendations to be made to the city, you can do such.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and make a motion that we recommend to the city that they continue to invest in the convention center. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, say aye. All right, 5-0.
To forward you an official copy of this report when it's filed with the state.
That would be great.
Yes. Yeah, and we'll send the counties one too. I thought we were gonna have it today. So we'll send the counties.
I want to add one thing. So we have Mike McGee, who's with the Visitors Bureau and promotes visit. And since really our focus is on tourism,
Mhm.
when I called him one time, he said, well, really, I'm focused on what's going on in the convention center. And I asked him, well, is anybody involved with the tourism in the county?
Mm-hmm.
The answer to that is no. There's really nothing going on really. And so I said, well, let me give you my personal experience with this. I've been here now 15 years. I've not had that first question, call, whatever, touch from the Visitors Bureau to anybody I'm aware of in the county. So I said, I get your focus. So I said, what would happen if we helped you with somebody in your personnel who would focus on the county? Well, there's no budget for that.
Right.
I thought, well, out of all these funds, I mean, it would be minuscule compared to what we're doing, but have somebody be an intern or a program or something.
Okay.
So the county guys that put into this every day feel like some tension is put in there.
Yeah.
So you could have somebody you could call and say, hey, such and such, the Lotus Festival is going on. Have you got anybody that's promoting the county folks?
Right.
There's all kinds of things you could do, but we don't have anybody to talk to. Nobody would be an administrator.
Right.
Somebody could
Right.
put us on a list and send talk to the county.
Getcha. Okay, that's
So
good.
I think Mike could be just
I'll
plus if he
talk
could
to-
have some additional personnel, even if it's an intern or a program.
Linda person at CVB.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I just remember that when we were going through the whole issue of whether or not to do, well, the council made the decision on food and beverage tax, but how to actually proceed from there, which was hairy and nasty and messy to the nth degree, as we all know. One of the things that came up was, well, innkeeper's tax is utilized for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Visit Bloomington is part of innkeeper tax paid amenities, and so the anti-convention center people said, but hey, what about the county? You're just focused on the city. How is the county going to benefit? And we were told at that time by Mike McAfee that this is Visit Bloomington and Monroe County. So it doesn't mean that they couldn't use more help. So I've written that down. I will talk to Mike and let's see if we can, because we can go outside of our plan, right? This is just going to the state to say we have a plan. So let me talk to Mike. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be super.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a county festival. Maybe, just sit here and we could brainstorm.
Yeah.
And maybe something could happen. Good break.
Got it.
Visit Monroe County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the quarry is another, it is a huge piece of our heritage. And you're right, it's been kind of a stepchild. We've got so much focus on IU, which is not inappropriate, but you should focus on IU. But there's all these other peripheral things that,
Sure.
kind of feel like they're stepchilds.
Yeah.
I know this, I could not have survived without your help when the pandemic happened.
Here's,
That's a large
here's
part of
money.
why I'm here, and say like, hey, you know, I'm here thanks to you guys.
Thank you for
at
being
that-
here. Thank you all for being here and for
At a
serving.
critical moment.
Appreciate
I
it.
kind of thought, okay, the pandemic went away, and kind of like I felt the help went away.
Yeah. Well, it did. The CARES money was gone. Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's, I just hope we don't ever have to go through anything like that again. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I don't think we have another meeting scheduled until January, I would imagine, or after January, I will even say.
We don't have a meeting scheduled at all.
Yeah,
I can
at
reach
all,
out
but there'll be
in
one next
January when
year.
we need one.
We'll see you next year.
We'll see.
I don't have minutes. It's on here.
They were sent out in the packet.
Did anybody have a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah, I need to abstain from the paper.
Right.
I mean, I could go on July and September, like.
I skimmed them, they looked fine. I wasn't.
I can be-
I was here.
I can be re-
I seconded the motion.
All right, so I will go, let's go ahead and, can four of us approve the minutes for April? Would that be possible? Well, while she looks that up, let's just do July and September. Move that we approve the summary minutes of July 22nd, 2024 and September 24th, 2024. Second, all right. Any other comments? I'm trusting you all because I've not read them. All right, all those in favor of moving the minutes for July 22nd and September 24th, 2024, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0.
I think it's a 7-person committee, and so 4 would be quorum. So
Great, perfect. I'll go ahead and move approval of the summary minutes for April 26th, 2024.
Second?
All right, any comments or notes on that? All right, all those in, we have one abstention. And then all those in favor of approving the minutes for April 26th, 2024, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries 4-0-1. Any other business?
Signatures, please.
Okay, thank you all for your service again this year. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate it. It's fun. Thank you. We're adjourned.